Now this church truck was purchased in 1919. It does look very flimsy, but caskets were not as heavy as they are today. But this is the best that was available in 1919. Here in this case, we have different funeral bills. I think the oldest one that we have is April the 21st, 1875. The total bill was $50 and there was no embalming. All these other bills, I think, included embalming. I think the last one we have is 1940. These papers here do not have anything to do with the funeral profession as such, but they do have Joseph Gill and his wife Mary's name on them. I think they're deeds or something. And then this is where Joseph Gill paid his taxes, 1896. And then these are cemetery deeds. We have 4 of those. And the oldest one is December of 1870, and December of 1895, and February of 1918, and February of 1922. Now here we have pictured the caskets that were used in the teens and the 20s. Now by then, in the teens and the 20s, the casket manufacturers had come into being, and they did make caskets to be shipped to the undertaker from the factory. Now you will notice that this one is closed position and it does not have any hardware on it, handles. The undertaker, after you had selected the casket that you wanted, he would bring a book out and show you the different handles, and he would put them on there himself. You had a choice in the handles. And these are the caskets that were used in the 30s, and the 40s, and early 50s. And you'll notice how elaborate that they were. Now in the late 1800s, it was a custom that if you had a death in the family, you sent invitations to the funeral. This one is 1886, 1873, 1885, and 1887. And you did send an invitation to the people to attend the funeral. Mostly, a lot of funerals were in the house in those days. And this was after embalming had come into being, and they could mail the invitation to you and you had time to get it. These are more invitations to funerals. Now then, the man that did establish this funeral business, he died in August of 1899, and this is his obituary. You remember we told you in the very first parlor that we came to that it was a custom for a lady to wear black 6 months after her husband had passed away. And this is a mourning scarf, and this is a headdress for ladies. This, in the 30s and 40s, you would plug this in and it would get super hot. And then you would place this thing in there, and of course it got super hot, and that's how curled a woman's hair. This is a picture of the Joseph Gill family. Mr. Gill is seated on the left-hand side, and his wife, Mary, is seated on the right-hand side, and the 6 children are standing behind him and between he and his wife. Now, I don't know what work the other 4 people went into, but the girl standing just behind her father was a medical doctor in Chicago, and she passed away in 1958 or 59. She was brought back here for burial in the Gill family plot. Then the boy standing beside her was the father of Hayes Gill and Bud Gill. These are old books that were used in mortuary science. You know that we pointed out to you in the office building that Hayes Gill graduated from Cincinnati College of Mortuary Science in 1922, and these two that are opened are his books that he used in college. These standing up are the material that I used when I was in the very early 50s. This was the faculty at the mortuary school in Indianapolis. Lloyd Howe was the owner of the facility, and this was the faculty. Then these are trade journals out of 1948.